Okay, so if I turn this map 90 degrees, no, that's the park. Wait, or is that the river? Um,
Alex, is that you? You look like you're trying to solve a very difficult puzzle there in the middle of the sidewalk.
oh, thank goodness. I am completely, I'm not lost exactly. I just have no idea where I am or where I'm going.
That sounds like the definition of lost, my friend. But don't worry, you're in a new city. It's part of the adventure, right?
I guess so, but look at everyone. They're all walking so fast. I don't want to stop anyone. I'll just keep staring at this map until it makes sense.
Or you could just ask that person over there. They look like they know the way.
Oh, I don't know. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I'm rude?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. You just need the right words to start the conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily Seed English Podcast. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Alex. And today, as you can probably tell, I'm the one feeling a bit like a tiny seed lost in a very large garden.
That's a great way to put it, Alex. You know, every new word you learn is like planting a seed. And when you're in a new city, those seeds need to grow fast so you can find your way around.
Exactly. Today we're focusing on the street vocabulary, specifically how to ask for directions without feeling like you're bothering people.
It's all about the approach. So let's help your confidence grow today. Ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
So, Alex, you were mentioning earlier that you felt a bit nervous about stopping someone on the street. That's actually a very common feeling for language learners, and even for native speakers sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, everyone looks so busy. I don't want to be that person who just jumps out and stops them suddenly. It feels a bit invasive, you know?
I totally get that. But the truth is, most people are actually quite happy to help if you approach them the right way. It's all about those first few seconds.
Right, so what's the magic opening? Is there one?
Well, there are a few. The most classic one, and you really can't go wrong with this, is, "Excuse me, could you help me?"
Excuse me, could you help me? It sounds simple, but it's very direct, isn't it?
It is, and the "excuse me" part is crucial. It's like a little bell that tells the other person, "Hey, I'm talking to you, but I'm being polite about it."
What about if they're walking really fast?
If someone is on the move, you might want to try something a bit softer, like, "Hi, sorry to bother you."
Hi, sorry to bother you. Oh, I like that. It acknowledges that they might be busy. It feels more human.
Exactly. You're showing that you value their time. It's a very common way to start a conversation in a city like London or New York.
So let me try a little role play. I'm walking down the street. I see you. You're looking at your watch, and I say, hi, sorry to bother you. Do you have a moment?
Perfect. And you actually just used another one of our target phrases. Good morning/afternoon. Do you have a moment? Adding the good morning or good afternoon makes it even more formal and respectful.
Is it ever too formal? I mean, if it's just a young person in a hoodie, do they want me to say good afternoon?
That's a good question. In that case, maybe just sticking to the hi or excuse me is better. But you know what's really helpful if you're actually confused? Being honest about it.
Honest? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing?
Maybe not quite like that. Try this. "I'm a bit lost. Can you assist me?"
I'm a bit lost. Can you assist me? I like that word assist. It sounds a bit more sophisticated than just help, doesn't it?
It does. It's a very clear way to ask for guidance, and it immediately explains why you are bothering them, because you're lost. Most people feel a natural urge to help someone who is a bit lost.
And what about my new person card? I always feel like if I tell people I'm new, they're more patient with my English.
You are absolutely right, Alex. Using the phrase, hello, I'm new here, is like a secret password for patience.
Hello, I'm new here. It's so simple.
It is, but it sets the context. It tells the local that you aren't just lazy, you genuinely don't know the layout of the city. Plus, it usually makes them want to be a good ambassador for their home.
I never thought of it that way. Like I'm giving them a chance to show off their city knowledge.
Precisely. When you say, hello, I'm new here, followed by, could you help me, you're creating a very positive interaction. So, for someone starting out, which one should they practice the most?
I'd say start with, excuse me, could you help me? It's the Swiss Army knife of street English. It works in almost every situation. Okay, so let me practice my excuse me tone. Excuse me? No, that sounds like I'm angry. Excuse me? No, that's too loud.
Try to keep it rising at the end, like a question. Excuse me?
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, that feels much more like a request for help.
Exactly. Your tone of voice is just as important as the words. You want to sound curious and polite, not demanding.
Right. And if they say, no, sorry, I'm in a rush, what do I do then?
Just smile and say, no problem, have a good day. Don't let it discourage you. The next person will likely stop.
Okay, I'm feeling better. I've got my excuse me, I've got my sorry to bother you, and I've got my I'm new here card ready to play.
That's the spirit. Your confidence is already starting to sprout.
I see what you did there. Growth metaphors everywhere.
You know me too well. But seriously, once you've got someone to stop, the next challenge is actually asking for the thing you need.
Right, because help me is just the start. I actually need to get to the museum or the station or that really good taco place I heard about.
Well, let's get into the specifics of how to ask for those locations.
Okay, so once I've got someone to stop, I can't just stand there and say, train station? I guess that's a bit too short, right?
Right. It's understandable, but it doesn't help you practice your speaking. Plus, a full sentence is always more polite.
So what's the first one? Let's say I want to find the middle of everything.
That's usually the city center. Try saying, how do I get to the city center?
How do I get to the city center? Simple, clear, I like it.
It's a classic structure. How do I get to? Followed by the place you're looking for. It works for anything, the park, the beach, or even the gym.
Or, if you're like me and you travel by rail, you'd say, could you tell me the way to the train station?
Perfect. Could you tell me the way to is a bit more descriptive. You're not just asking how, but specifically asking for the path or the way.
I've noticed people also just ask for the nearest thing, like, where's the nearest bus stop?
Yes, that word nearest is a lifesaver. You don't want to walk 3 miles to the main terminal if there's a small bus stop right around the corner.
Exactly. If I'm tired, I want the nearest one. But what if I'm not looking for a specific point, but just a general direction?
Then you'd use something like, which direction is the main square?
Which direction is the main square? That's quite useful if you can see some tall buildings and you just want a pointing finger.
Right, it saves you from getting lost in those tiny side streets. Now, Sophia, I always have this problem. I ask for directions, they point, but I have no idea if it's a 5-minute walk or a 30-minute trek. I've been there. That's why you need to ask, how far is it to the old town?
How far is it to the old town? Or can I just say, is it far from here?
You can. Is it far from here is a great yes or no question. It's perfect if you're deciding whether to walk or maybe call a taxi.
Okay, so how far gives me a distance or time, and is it far gives me a general feeling. I like that differentiation.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about maps. You love your maps, Alex.
I do, even if I sometimes hold them upside down, apparently.
If you have a map, either a paper one or on your phone, you can ask, "Can you show me on the map?"
Can you show me on the map? That's my favorite one because even if my English isn't perfect, a pointing finger on a map never lies.
Exactly. It's a very visual way to communicate, and it helps you recognize the main road or the public square you're headed towards.
What about if I'm looking for something very specific and everyday, like a supermarket?
Use the present continuous. I'm looking for the nearest supermarket.
I'm looking for the nearest supermarket. That feels very natural, like I'm inviting them into my search.
It is. It's less like a command and more like you're sharing your current task.
Okay, what about the places people always ask for? Let's say a museum.
Try, "Excuse me, how do I walk to the museum?"
Excuse me, how do I walk to the museum? Oh, I like that you added walk because maybe there's a bus, but I want to see the city on foot.
Exactly. Specifying walk helps the local give you a route that isn't just take the subway.
And the most important one, the one everyone needs at some point when they realize they've spent too much on souvenirs.
Let me guess. The ATM?
Yes, where is the nearest ATM?
Always a priority. And again, notice the use of nearest there. You don't want to wander around with no cash.
So many of these are variations on a theme. Where is, how do I get to, which direction is.
Precisely. Once you learn the structures, you can just plug in the place name: museum, park, station, taco shop.
I'm feeling a lot more confident already. But Sophia, what happens after they start talking?
Ah, the moment of truth when the locals start speaking really fast and using terms you don't know.
Yeah, that's usually when I just nod and say, okay, thanks, and then I'm still lost.
We call that the polite nod of confusion, and we're going to help you avoid it.
Please, I'm tired of ending up in the wrong neighborhood because I was too shy to say I didn't understand.
Let's talk about how to clarify those directions.
This is the scariest part for me, Sophia. I ask the question perfectly and then, whoosh, the local starts speaking like a machine gun.
Go down the street, take the third left past the bakery, then the second right after the statue of the guy on the horse.
And your brain just freezes at bakery, right?
Exactly. I'm still thinking about croissants while they're already at the horse statue.
That's because your brain is translating and processing at the same time. It's hard work, but you have the power to slow the conversation down.
I do? How?
By being honest and polite. The most important phrase you can learn is, could you speak more slowly, please?
Could you speak more slowly, please? I always feel a bit embarrassed saying that, like I'm failing at English.
Not at all. Even native speakers have to say this if they're in a city with a thick accent or a lot of background noise. It's a sign of a good communicator. You want to understand correctly.
Okay, I'll try to be brave. Could you speak more slowly, please? And what if I completely missed a part of what they said?
Then you use, sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Catch is such a great verb there, like I'm trying to grab the words out of the air.
It is. It's very idiomatic. It tells them that you heard them, but the meaning didn't quite land.
Now, let's say I heard the words, but I'm not sure about the orientation. I often confuse my sides.
Me too. Always double check. Is it on the left or on the right?
Is it on the left or on the right? That's a great way to force a simple answer. Left, right. I can understand that.
Exactly. And if you're looking down a long street, you can ask, do I go straight ahead?
Do I go straight ahead? That's another good one. Just keep walking until someone tells me to stop.
Well, don't walk too far. You'll probably reach some traffic lights eventually. That's another great opportunity to check. Should I turn left at the traffic lights?
Should I turn left at the traffic lights? Traffic lights are so common. It's like a natural pause button in the directions.
Yes, And sometimes in cities like New York or Chicago, everything is organized in squares, so you can ask, how many blocks do I need to walk?
How many blocks do I need to walk? A block is just the distance between two streets, right?
That's right. It's a very helpful unit of measurement. 2 blocks is much clearer than a little bit further.
I like that. It's mathematical. But what if the streets don't have signs? Or what if I'm in an old city where nothing is a square?
Then you look for a landmark. Ask, is there a landmark I can look for?
Is there a landmark I can look for? A landmark could be a big church or a famous fountain, right?
Exactly. Something that stands out. Look for the big blue building is often easier than turn on Smith Street.
This is like a scavenger hunt. I'm getting more and more into this.
And here's the most important tip for the deep dive today, Alex. Once they finish giving you the directions, don't just walk away.
What should I do?
Summarize. Repeat it back to them. Use the phrase, so first I go straight, then turn right.
So first I go straight, then turn right. Oh, I see. If I say it back and they nod, then I know I've got it.
Precisely. It gives them a chance to correct you if you got it wrong. It's the ultimate safety net for learners.
So first I go straight, then I turn left at the big red church, walk 3 blocks, and the museum is on my right.
Perfect. You're getting the hang of it. You're not just a seed anymore, Alex. You're starting to grow some leaves.
I'm definitely feeling more grounded, but we still have some of those tricky street words to cover, right?
Yes, the specific vocabulary for things you see on the street, things like roundabouts and pedestrian crossings.
Oh, roundabouts, the enemy of all drivers.
They can be tricky on foot, too. Let's talk about those next. You know, Sophia, I realized something. Even if I know the grammar, I sometimes don't know the names of the things I'm actually seeing, like the line on the road where you're supposed to cross.
That's a very important one for safety. We call that a pedestrian crossing.
Pedestrian crossing. Pedestrian is such a long word for just a person walking.
It is a bit formal, but in street signs and directions, it's the standard term. You might also hear people call it a zebra crossing in places like the UK because of the black and white stripes.
Zebra crossing. That's much easier to remember. But if I'm in the US or looking at a map, I should look for the pedestrian crossing sign.
Exactly, and usually those crossings are near the traffic lights.
Right. I always wait for the little green person to appear on the traffic lights before I step out. It's better to be safe than sorry when you're in a strange city.
Definitely. Now, what about the thing that drives you crazy, the circle in the middle of the road?
Oh, the roundabout. I saw one yesterday that had like 5 different exits. How am I supposed to know which way to go?
Roundabouts are famous for that. When a local gives you directions, they might say, take the second exit at the roundabout. Even for a pedestrian, it's good to know which way the traffic is flowing.
That makes sense. And speaking of traffic flow, I almost got hit yesterday because I didn't realize a street was a one-way street.
Oh no, that's a common mistake. On a one-way street, all the cars are coming from one direction only. But because people are used to looking both ways, they sometimes forget to check the specific flow.
Exactly. I was looking left, but the cars were all coming from the right. I need to keep an eye out for those one-way street signs.
It's a good habit to have. Now, let's talk about where you actually want to be. Most people are looking for a public square or a plaza.
Public square. Is that like the main square we talked about earlier?
Yes, it's usually a big open area with no cars, maybe some statues or fountains. It's often the heart of the city.
I love a good public square. It's a great place to sit, have a coffee, and, well, look at my map without people bumping into me.
A very peaceful strategy. But what if you're in a rush to get home?
Then I'm looking for the subway station, or the metro, or the tube, depending on where I am.
Right, but in our list today, we have subway station. It's usually underground, so keep an eye out for those stairs going down.
And if I'm above ground, I'm looking for a bus stop.
Precisely. A bus stop is usually just a pole with a sign, or maybe a small shelter if you're lucky.
And if I'm really tired and have a bit of extra money, I'll look for a taxi rank.
Taxi rank. I've heard taxi stand before. Is it the same thing? Yes, they are mostly interchangeable. A taxi rank is a specific place where taxis wait in a line for passengers. You can't just jump in any car. You usually have to go to the front of the rank.
Ah, okay. Good to know the etiquette. So I have my main road, which is the big, busy one.
And then you have your shortcut.
Shortcut, my favorite word. I'm always looking for a way to save 5 minutes.
Be careful with those, Alex. Sometimes a shortcut leads you through a dark alley or just makes you more lost.
You're right. I once tried to take a shortcut through a park and ended up on the complete opposite side of the city.
That's the classic shortcut trap. It's usually better to stay on the main road until you really know the area.
Lesson learned. Stick to the main road until I'm an expert.
Exactly. You're learning so much today, Alex. We've covered how to start the conversation, how to ask the questions, how to clarify, and the words for what you see.
But what about the how of getting around, like using apps or choosing between walking and taking a bus?
That's our final piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about the practicalities of transport and those final polite tips.
You know, Sophia, as much as I love walking and exploring the main road, sometimes the destination is just too far. Like if I need to get to the airport, I'm not walking there with 3 suitcases.
Definitely not. For those longer trips, you need to know how to navigate the public transport system.
Right. So I'm at the front desk of my hotel, or maybe I'm asking a friendly local, where can I catch the bus to the airport?
Perfect. Where can I catch the bus to is the standard way to find the starting point of your journey.
And I should probably check if I need to change buses, right? I hate getting lost in a bus terminal.
Yes, ask, is there a direct bus to the shopping mall or wherever you're going? A direct bus means you don't have to get off and wait for another one.
Is there a direct bus to the shopping mall? That would save me so much stress. But even if there is a bus, I need to know if I'll be waiting for an hour in the rain.
Exactly. So you ask, how often do the buses come?
How often do the buses come? And what's a typical answer?
They might say every 10 minutes, or they're quite frequent, or even there's only one every hour. Knowing the frequency helps you plan your day.
And here's the big question. Payment. This always confuses me. In some cities, you need a card. In others, you need cash.
It's always changing, so just ask, can I buy a ticket on the bus?
Can I buy a ticket on the bus? If they say no, I guess I have to find a machine or an app.
Exactly. It's better to know before the bus arrives and the driver is looking at you expectantly.
Okay, so I've got the airport and the shopping mall covered. What if I'm going to a big event, like a football match?
Then you ask for the stadium. Try, what's the best way to get to the stadium from here?
What's the best way to get to the stadium from here? Does best way usually mean the fastest or the cheapest?
It usually means a combination of both. Locals will often have a secret tip, like taking a specific subway line instead of the bus because of the traffic.
I love local tips, and sometimes the local might even tell me to just walk.
That's why you should ask, is it better to walk or take a taxi?
Is it better to walk or take a taxi? Sophia, when would you recommend one over the other?
Well, if it's a beautiful day and the distance is less than 20 minutes, I'd say walk and see the sights. But if it's raining or you're in a rush, a taxi is much easier.
Right, especially if there's a taxi rank nearby.
Exactly. And of course, in the 21st century, we have help in our pockets.
Ah, yes, the navigation apps. I'd be lost without mine. Wait, I was lost earlier, even with mine.
Maybe you need a better app. You can always ask, do you know any good apps for navigation in this city?
Do you know any good apps for navigation in this city? People often have local favorites that show real-time bus locations or hidden walking paths.
They do. It's a great way to use technology to help your English seeds grow into a full grown forest of confidence.
You really have a growth metaphor for everything.
I try. But seriously, Alex, you've done so well today. You've gone from staring at an upside down map to being able to navigate subways, buses, and public squares.
I really appreciate all these phrases. It feels like I have a toolkit now. I'm not just guessing, I have the right words for the right moment.
That's the goal. Every time you use one of these phrases, you're practicing your speaking and building your listening skills at the same time.
I can't wait to try these out. Maybe I'll go find that museum now, for real this time.
Go for it. But before you go, Alex, and before our listeners go, I have a question for everyone.
Oh? What is it?
Think about a time you were lost in a new place. How did you feel? And if you could go back, which of these phrases would have helped you the most?
That's a great question. I think for me, speak more slowly would have saved me a lot of headaches in Paris last year.
It's a game changer. We'd love to hear your stories in the comments or on our social media.
Yeah, let us know how your direction seeds are growing.
Well, I think that's all for our deep dive today. Let's head back to the studio for a quick wrap up.
Lead the way, Sophia. I promise I won't hold the map upside down on the way back.
Actually, Alex, before we finish, I have a few pro tips for everyone. These are the little things that make a huge difference when you're out on the street.
Pro tips. I love pro tips. Are they about more shortcuts?
No, no shortcuts this time. It's about communication style. First, remember, always start with excuse me, even if you're in a hurry.
Right, we talked about that earlier. It's like a buffer, isn't it? It softens the request.
Exactly. It tells the other person, I know you're in the middle of something and I respect that. It's very polite and almost always gets a better reaction than just saying, where is the bank?
It's like the please of starting a conversation. Excuse me first, then the question.
Precisely. And here's another thing that often trips people up. Numbers and distance.
Oh, tell me about it. Turn left after 300 meters. Is that 3 blocks or half a mile? My brain just doesn't work in meters when I'm walking.
It's hard. That's why you should practice saying and hearing those numbers. If someone says it's a 15-minute walk, try to visualize what that means for you.
It's about 15 minutes walk. Okay, so that's roughly a kilometer or so. I can handle that.
And if they say turn left after 300 meters, just keep an eye on your phone map or look for the next big intersection. Don't worry about being exact with a ruler.
Excuse me, does this look like 290 meters to you? Yeah, that might be a bit much.
Just a bit. And finally, Alex, what's the most important thing to say when someone helps you?
That's easy. Thank you so much.
Yes, or even better, I really appreciate your help.
I really appreciate your help. That sounds very sincere. It shows that you know they didn't have to stop for you.
Exactly. When you show genuine appreciation, it makes the other person feel good about helping, and they'll likely be even more helpful to the next traveler they meet.
It's a cycle of kindness, a kindness seed that grows into a helpful city.
You really have a growth metaphor for everything. I try. But seriously, Alex, you've done so well today. You've gone from staring at an upside-down map to being able to navigate subways, buses, and public squares.
I really appreciate all these phrases. It feels like I have a toolkit now. I'm not just guessing, I have the right words for the right moment.
That's the goal. Every time you use one of these phrases, you're practicing your speaking and building your listening skills at the same time.
I can't wait to try these out. Maybe I'll go find that taco place now, for real this time.
Go for it. But before you go, Alex, and before our listeners go, I have a question for everyone.
Oh? What is it?
Think about a time you were lost in a new place. How did you feel? And if you could go back, which of these phrases would have helped you the most?
That's a great question. I think for me, speak more slowly would have saved me a lot of headaches in Paris last year.
It's a game changer. We'd love to hear your stories in the comments or on our social media.
Yeah, let us know how your direction seeds are growing.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Daily Seed English Podcast. I hope these phrases help you feel more confident the next time you're exploring a new place.
I know they've helped me. I'm going to go find that taco place now. If you don't hear from me in an hour, send a search party to the public square.
We'll be right there, Alex.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe and share it with your fellow travelers.
Yes, share the growth. And remember, every day is a chance to learn better.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.